That's right. That's right. It might be Tuesday, but it's time for another episode of the Full Tilt Dynasty Podcast presents the Fantasy Walkabout. I know we normally do this thing on Mondays, but right now schedules are changing. It's my fault for not changing the graphics. Your host with the most time on his hands is finding himself with less and less. I will get that changed. But as of right now, we're rolling up here on this Tuesday. What is up, Nippon? What is cracking? See what I did there? Okay. Tom Lee, it's a little later, but what time is it over there for you right now on the other side of the planet?
Little time check on a Tuesday. It's 10:30 a.m. here in the sunny Brisbane.
Yes, right. Over there in Aussie land. We keep it authentic over here. Last week, we noticed there was no Aussie slang. I look forward to seeing how you pop it in here and have me rolling out of my chair, probably.
5 minutes. Yeah,
exactly. Well, hey, it was 10 minutes the one time. So this is our 4th edition of the Value Accumulation Project. We've done everything from showing you how to establish tiers, applying value, all that stuff. We're going to get to that in a minute. I just want to mention a big shout out and a thank you over there to Julian over there at the Brighter Skies Podathon. They were kind enough to reach out to us and have us on. It was an honor, honestly, talking about how cyberbullying can affect so many people and hearing so many stories about people overcoming those things. It was a very special time, and I look forward to hopefully being invited back. Huskers up in the chat over here. What is up, my man? Happy to see you. So yeah, the Brightest Guys thing with Julian. We brought Julian on. The Full Tilt Dynasty Podcast is making another $90 donation to the cause. This as a whole, because why not? I mean, it's something that we all believe pretty strongly in. I mean,
so important. Yeah.
Positive vibes, love, and positivity is something there. So definitely you can go and check those replays out. Definitely worth it. Great guests, great hosts. Just a fantastic event overall. And I do want to mention that this Friday, Matt B, much love, my man. This Friday, we have a special episode of the Full Tilt Dynasty Podcast. Billy will not be joining us, but we do have Tyler Karp from DLF coming on, and we are going to talk. Yeah, huge show for us. We are going to be dealing with a little bit of schools out edition now that it's summertime and most schools are shut down for, it just being ended, not for COVID reasons this time. And we're going to talk about players that we're suspending and expelling. So you're going to want to tune into that. And what is the People VRTDB this week? You're going to have to tune in to find out. Last one was spicy. You can check that over at the Tube of You and over there on the Dynasty Vipers Network. Okay, with all that out of the way, we're ready to move forward with the Value Accumulation Project. One more thing. I just want to thank everybody for tuning in, downloading, the views, the feedback. Just remember that this week will be your last opportunity to get your name put in to come on to the show with us next week to help you build or even rearrange your tiers. If it's something that you haven't done before, something you've been wanting to do, something you've been kind of meddling with and have not quite gotten the hang of yet, we're going to bring you on. We're going to sit down as a group, and we are going to go through the process for people that might be a little bit new to it. Looking forward to that, but this is the last week, and this is how you do it. Tag us, DM us. I've gotten a few myself. Tag us, DM us, let us know that you're interested, and we're going to draw that name. And that's how it's going to work. It's just as easy as that. So if you're interested in doing your own tiers with myself and my main mate from across the planet, this is your chance, your opportunity. So we're gonna get going here. We're gonna really break it down. We've gone through value acquisition and trade execution. But now we're going to move into applying these things. We've worked through how to organize your assets. Then we listed how to put value to them in tiers. Last week, we talked about identifying opportunities for acquiring true value, not just, appeared value, glossed value.
Glossy value.
Yeah, glossy value. There you go. And now we're finally going to wrap the series up and looking at the execution and practical application in getting deals done, because that's important. You can have all the information you want, but applying them. And I just want to come out of the way. We're not going to talk about unicorn deals. I don't care about those deals that get posted. That's just like, it's asinine. Like,
that's it.
Completely out there. Oh, I traded Derrick Henry and I got DeAndre Swift, Antonio Gibson in a first. We don't care. No one cares. You either traded them to yourself. It was a home league, a casual league. We don't care. That's not
it's not real
going to
life.
happen every day.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to just exclude those trades. We have 2 examples at the end of the show that are real life trades. And now I always do want to preface this by saying, we know you don't care about our private leagues. Like, that's not the information we're going to give you. But we have 2 trades right now that we feel are
worth the process. Yeah.
Yeah, it fits the process. It hits all the criteria, checks all the boxes. And we're going to break those down towards the end of the show to really cap this 4-piece project of acquiring value, no matter the cost. So today we want to touch on some unicorn structured deals that we see on the old Bird app. Tom Lee, why don't you walk us through these and what they mean to us?
Yeah, so the unicorn deals, we don't want to stay too long on them, but the structures you're generally going to see and you're going to hear about in the industry are your classic 2-for-1s, right? Trading one player away at their highest value, acquiring 2 lower priced assets that makes you look like a genius in 3 months' time, right?
Right.
You can do it. There's some startups and there's some inexperienced players. It's possible, but I don't give a shit. Like, you're not going out there to someone who's done Dynasty for more than a year or who has actually watched football and going to get these type of deals happening all the time. So there's no point talking you through how to go about doing them. They're just not going to happen. We talked about how to add value and how to add true value. Well, everyone wants to try and add a first to everything, right?
Yep.
They want to trade down within a tier, add a first to it. Most of the time, unless you have a complete outlier in your rankings, you're not going to have the ability to add a first directly on top of, a really good player or comparable player.
Right.
It's just not going to happen. So we're not going to really stick on that and talk about it too much, even though it's probably more possible. And then we're not going to talk about the blockbusters. So we're not going to talk through, like you said before, the Derrick Henrys, who's, right at the top of that age pinnacle point on the graph, trading down for 2 stud young running backs and getting, what seems like screaming value, especially in an off season when we're all bored. Everyone's looking for news. It's not going to happen. So we're not going to stick around. We're not going to talk about that.
That's not true value. That's unicorn value.
Yeah.
that's not. That's some Falcor shit. Like, it's just not. It's not going to be something you see day to day. And obviously, if you can get it, then please, by all means, go and do that. But we're going to keep it real as possible out here on these streets. That's right. Carry on. Sorry, Tom Lee.
No, that's it. That's all we want to talk about. We'll then move into some of my favorite structures, rather than just, aiming for glory and throwing the Hail Mary and nailing it. What are some of the favorites that we like looking for? So classic ways to add true value to your team. We talked about how picks become liquid currency. We can use them both to acquire and to help sell off assets last week. So this week, looking through the waiver wire, being aware of what's out there, what players are being talked about, and making sure you get them, and then just flipping them for a lower pick, giving yourself more assets so you can use that later on. Picks are always more attractive than an old, 1-week use player. And you're going to get opportunities to sell them off. So if it's just because they're hot topic in the off season, you want to flip them, fine. Or if it's in season and all of a sudden you have the backup quarterback for someone and you get yourself a second or a third, it's just adding instant value to your team. And it's where you want to start thinking about these opportunities rather than just going, my team's where it's at. I won't check in this week. No, go have a look on your waiver wire. Someone's been a fool in your league and drop Sterling Shepard. Go and pick him up for nothing. In season, flip him for a second or a third. All of a sudden, you have more value in your team.
Guys are going to get hurt. Players are going to play. Someone's going to have a big game. Someone's going to get desperate. Someone's going to not care about their draft picks now, but they're going to want them back later. And that's a big thing. That's definitely right. Like, there's definitely situations where you can, I mentioned it last week. I picked up a defense, traded it for a second. Anything is possible. That's why staying on the waiver wire can acquire you some of the most true value you can have. We're also going to go over selling off positional scarcity for production, quarterback for a wide receiver. Talk about that one real quick.
Yeah, so that happens more in draft. We talked a little bit about last week where it's not QB hoarding, but it's when the QBs are the most valuable piece on the board. taking them because we know people really, really get panicked about having QBs on their roster. And if you don't need them, then there's no reason you can't, quote unquote, lose value to trade a QB away for a wide receiver that's going to give you instant production. So anywhere in that RB2 zone of Golladay, Sutton, that sort of range of player, people are willing to part with that if it gets them what they see as production on field for a QB. You don't need it. It's instant value for your team, and it makes your team structure look way better, plus gives you points on field for where you couldn't put it before. And you're not really going to get more for that QB once the draft's over, so you may as well flip it for that positional advantage. Right. And that's acquiring value because you can use those pieces later on.
Yeah, and that's absolutely huge because, man, think about it. You getting those players, and like you said, if you don't need that quarterback, those players are going to look real good. But at the same time, you don't want to be drafting to fill your roster either. So not being afraid, that's a big thing for us. Don't draft it. Oh, I have this open wide receiver spot. I can't take another quarterback. Yes, you can.
Yeah, you
can because you're going to get Mike Williams 6 rounds later. Figure it out. You don't need to panic to fill your roster. That's a big thing for us and how we approach this. We've also got a high tier RB for a lower tier RB and a wide receiver. That fits into our how to trade in and out of tiers. Back a tier, up a tier. You can trade a Dalvin Cook and get a Montgomery, and I don't know if someone's feeling it, you can get a David Montgomery and Amari Cooper for that Dalvin Cook, because CeeDee Lamb is the guy, right? So it's possible to go superstar RB for a little bit lower tier on the RB and up a couple tiers at wide receiver for bonus true value. So those are very important. And then adding lower picks to seal a 2-for-1 deal. Explain this one, because I've seen you pull this off more times than I've seen anyone else pull this off, and it always baffles me as to why didn't I think of that?
Yeah. So we're talking generally seconds and thirds because firsts are always seen as a higher asset. Yes. But I don't know what my second this year is going to be because I'm not trying to tank, right? If I'm trying to tank and I do it well, I have a really good second. But if that's my outlook and I'm trying to acquire value, I don't know where my team's going to end up. So what's the point? So I'm going to flip those seconds and thirds, assuming that I can acquire them back later on, and add them to a piece just to get someone over the line. The trade was already pretty close. It wasn't a blockbuster 2-for-1, but it gives me 2 pieces that will give me on-field production, whereas that second's not going to score me any points this year. So exactly. I might be trading down a tier from RB to a lower RB, but to get that wide receiver that I want for production, I'm going to add a second, even though, in a year's time, yes, they may be worth about the same. We don't know. But if it gives me a shot at winning the league this year, or if it gives me a shot at a player who will increase in value that I can sell later for more than a second, I'm doing it straight up right now. Because
you could ride Montgomery for doing their hot streak and then trade him for a second or a first plus another running back and just continue the process. Exactly. Very important for us. And then it's about maximizing your value. I know I get a little slack for being told I play fantasy like it's a stock market, and that can be true. Obviously, it's league-based as well. Every league is different, sometimes different drafts and a couple years down the road. Because, look, I know a lot of people talk value in startup season, and it's it's assuming everyone is just doing startups.
Yeah.
Right. But this is how to apply these to leagues that have been around for a while. This is how you're successful. I don't believe in a 3-year window. That doesn't exist to me. I want to have a roster that is accumulating value all the time while keeping me in that top 5 or 6 range, because you put me in the playoff stretch and I've got a chance because I believe in the process, and I'm going to have I never have to worry about, I won it once and I got to rebuild for 5 years. You want to always have a steady flow of value. And that's what we're trying to do here. There's a way to you can trade assets to go all in. You can do all that, but you're hurting yourself in the end. Even if you win it all, it's 2 times harder to recover from that. So you just want to be in a good position to return those investment costs. So we're going to talk about, some not so favorite ideas. So I almost skipped right past that, but I'm here. I'm focused. No, a key point. Yep. That's right. We're not going to skip key points today. I am a professional, and that's what I keep telling myself.
Professional reader.
CeeDee Lamb is the guy. Maybe, right? Maybe. Yeah. But Amari Cooper was on pace to be the wide receiver 1 by a stretch.
You can also have a few guys in that offense because that offense is
exactly. There's no reason why Lamb and Cooper can't both be the guy, but Lamb is a really great player.
one's the better value.
Dak's really gonna like Cooper still, and that defense is doggy do. So if you're gonna get a Montgomery and a player that has obvious top 5, top 10 upside, and you can wince and all you want, but that's right, they're both gonna be good. So if you can acquire him on a cheap because somebody thinks Lamb is just that alpha number 1 no matter what, that's great. And that's what acquiring his true value is. And that's a wide receiver that's gonna be, looked at as a 2, but easily can finish in the top 10. And you're getting that for, another aging running back. So
and I think that's one of the keys to true value, right, Tom? So like it's to say one player's true value is not to dismiss the other player as not being value, but we understand their value. We know where they are and what they are. There's no opportunity to capitalize on that. And we're going to talk about a few later where people might be going, why would you think about doing this trade in that situation? Well, the key is about acquiring value here. It's not saying this player is not going to score well and produce, but it's can I be doing more with that asset? And can I be thinking a little further forward about how to get creative with my team? So like you said, instead of a 2-year win window, you can all of a sudden start a dynasty, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And that's what this is about. It's trying to get you thinking differently about it because we're talking about the dead season.
Yeah.
Doggy do offense. We're talking about this dead season, what to do with it, what you can be doing. Well, if you know your team's going to perform well, but there's an opportunity here to add value and keep that production, you should be looking to do it right now and capitalizing on this opportunity.
Because this is the best time. No one's played a snap.
It's pre-hype season.
Everyone's still watching workout videos and adjusting ranks accordingly. Looking at quads. They're looking at players just taking pictures in a jersey, the Chase Edmonds incidents, right? And I'm not kidding. And I know we don't care about your leagues, Tom. Shut up. I get it, but hear me out here. Chase Edmonds get his fucking team photo with his jersey and a red visor that he's not going to be allowed to wear on the field. And people went out and fucking traded for him.
Yep.
It actually affected how people looked at him. And it's why?
Yeah.
Guys doing box jumps. Oh, I definitely, he's a better athlete than I thought. And blah, 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 blah. Dude, come on.
Next time this box is out on the field. Yeah,
exactly. You take advantage of those narratives. This is why you stay active all the time and be putting out feelers. We talked about how to do that last week, how to send a message out to get a feel and to get an opinion of a guy as soon as news comes out, because that's how you gauge
those waters. Yeah,
exactly. And I agree 100% with the doggy do defense. That's why Dak QB 1/2 for me this year. Yeah, he's and that's why I'm saying it's not like a Patrick Mahomes situation where he only carries 2 wide receiver or 1 receiver and a tight end.
Yeah,
Dallas is going to carry 2 potential top tier wide receivers, a third playable, and probably a playable tight end given the landscape.
And a running back that catches passes.
Yeah. Tony Pollard's going to be really good this year. So we're going to talk about some of our not so favorites.
Yeah.
2 for 2s where you get older.
So this is controversial. You were saying this before, right? So this is not my gist, not my go. With a caveat, right? If you're doing a 2 for 2 and you're sending away 2 pieces, you must be getting production that equals the value of that or more. Right. Yes. So if you're going to get older, you need to have production with that age. I'm not sending 2 away to get 1 guy I can put on my bench and 1 prime asset that's older who can perform on field, because it's trading away production and I can't sell the other guy. So really it's a 2 for 1, vice versa. It looks like a 2 for 2 for all purposes. But if you can't use the second asset, there's no value to it. There's no true value to it. So we're trying to get rid of that mindset of, I said before, throwing a pick in. Well, the pick can't score points. If the second piece coming to you can score points, sure, you can justify it to me and tell me why you did it. It's still probably not my go because I'm looking in the offseason not to try and score points because we don't start for another however many months. So, it's way too long. So right now I'm not worried about that second piece unless it can provide me more value to my team.
Mm-hmm. And for me, why this can be done, right? We mentioned the paying to get older. So I might pay to get a little older if my team dictates that. So the example I gave you, Tom Lee, off airs, I have no problem trading like a Chenault and a third to get, Julio and a second, because that trade is out there. Like that is a trade that's actually out there. People want to get rid of the Julio because he's old, he's broken, he's done.
He's got one hamstring. Yeah.
He's one hamstring. It's not Matt Ryan. They're not going to flood him. It's going to have to be efficient. But honestly, Chenault and Julio can kind of end up around the same place.
Yeah.
But I'll take the upside for Julio.
Yeah, so Chenault might have more long-term upside, but Julio, with his one hamstring and a very efficient quarterback, are more likely to score you points on field this year.
Exactly.
Over a Trevor Lawrence who is, quote-unquote, not ready to start.
Exactly. Oh, it could be anybody.
Right?
It could be, yeah.
Could be anyone, yeah.
I mean, yeah. So I'm willing to do that and acquire that second.
Yeah.
Right? And give away that third and that young player to get that aging. There are times where it is okay to trade 2 for 2 and get older. Like that can't be stated enough. Don't be afraid to do that if that's what's being dictated. Another one we want to talk about is selling star young players for aged production. Yeah. This is a not so favorite. Obviously, this one's kind of an obvious one to me where it's not like, okay, we're not trading like a Justin Jefferson for like an OBJ and Sterling Shepard. We're not going to make that trade. There's no time where that is an okay deal to make for your dynasty team, right? I'm not trading Chenault for OBJ right now. Like it's not something that is, working with the value. There's, so that one's kind of an obvious one. You never want to trade a star young player, right? Yeah, exactly. Nippon gets it. Nippon gets it. The puke face. He's got the puke emoji. That's right. Yeah, like. There are times where you don't want to do that, and then you never want to pay for positional scarcity. And I just want to tap this off because last week I mentioned if you're in a super flex and you need a quarterback and your entire league knows it, just play Tony Pollard in your super flex because needing a quarterback when you only have one and it is super flex, be it injury or you faded the position, you might as well grab a stapler, take a piece of paper that says "fuck me" on it, and staple it to your forehead because your whole league is going to charge you 4 times value for that quarterback. Ryan Fitzpatrick. Oh, that's easily going to be a first and a running back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's going to be a first and Tony Pollard for Ryan Fitzpatrick. Whether you like it or not, you need one. I know you need one. Oh, Big Ben. Yeah. It's going to be a first +2. Like you're going to feel absolutely disgusting. So just don't do it. Just play a high upside wide receiver instead.
Yeah. Having said that, I have a different approach for you, and this is right on point with how you should be thinking. If you find yourself in this position, I don't want to discourage you and say that all is lost because we said before you can't always win at your draft. You could lose at your draft. Yeah. But if you play and acquire enough true value, I'm happy sending a first for that quarterback because I'd still rather play a quarterback over Tony Pollard in my superflex spot. Right? It's just I don't have one to do it, and there's the issue. Yeah, sometimes it depends on the quarterback. But, if you're reaching for Tom Brady, Tom Brady's a great example. Yeah, often he'll be on a team where someone's willing to get rid of him because it's only 1 to 2 years of perceived production left. They're going to charge you through the roof for it. You know it anyway. But if you can acquire enough value, go and pay that price because it's not hurting your team of production. Mm-hmm. So that's the key is don't panic about it and try to overbuy now. Play the long game, start accumulating value. If you get to the start of the season and you have to play Tony Pollard, go for it. But you can be acquiring enough value. Actually, I have a spare first now. Sure, I'll cop it. If my team is really ready to go, yes, it's a terrible deal, but you've done yourself a favor by accumulating value to get yourself in a position to do it rather than ruin your team structure to go out and try to get one because you're panicking. And that's the key. This is why we do this. Yeah,
that's why it's important to stay busy during the dead zone, the dead period. I wouldn't pay a bag of doggy doo-doo Cowboys DST for Big Ben. But that's the point though, right? So we're not saying that you would do that. What I'm saying is there are players out there that would panic because, oh my God, I don't have a second quarterback. What am I going to do? And they put themselves behind the 8 ball, and this is what happens. Don't do that. And same thing with tight end. Don't do it. Don't panic on a tight end. Be like, oh my God, I've only got insert, I don't know, fucking Gerald Everett. Oh, I better pay up for Ferkser. Like, even paying up for if you don't draft those players, the chances that you're going to trade for that player is not going to happen because you're just going to gouge yourself for the tight end. And that value can be made up elsewhere.
That's it. Yeah.
So those are examples that we don't like. Those are the ones that we oh, that's comment from a hate for Big Brand. Hey, that's fair. Ravens fan 101 over here. I'm with you. Politely fuck that guy.
I'm okay with Big Ben.
I'm not, for reasons.
I gotta cheer for someone. The Falcons suck.
No, that's just not the Steelers, yo. Come on. I'm gonna fire you soon for that. If I'm gonna mail you a Ravens jersey. If you don't wear it, you're fired.
Force wear a Ravens jersey.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what we do around here. So some examples and walkthroughs using what we've learned so far over the last couple of weeks. See, Nippon gets it. I'm gonna assume that laugh is for me. He's on my side because that's how I roll things around here. You're gonna try to pitch me players. You're gonna try to make these trades with me. We did this last week and people seem to love it. We're gonna role play here a little bit. We're gonna get a little freaky over here on the show, do some role playing, and we're gonna try to apply. Tom Lee is gonna try to apply our methodologies that we've talked about over the last couple of weeks. I had to take a breath there. Oh my Lord. We're going to apply some of the methods that we've been preaching into him trying to net me a trade. And I'll be honest, I don't know which way I'm going with these yet. I'm going to let him pitch me and let him, romance me through these pick scenarios.
It's a different show, Tom. It's a different show.
Hey. We do what the people want, damn it. I don't know if they want that or not, but we're going to find out. So romance me in these trades. Try to get me to bite on these the right way. We're going to go right from the first message here. Go ahead.
All right. So in this scenario, I'm going to try and pitch you Dalvin Cook, right?
Okay, let's do it.
I have him. I'm a win now team. But for some reason, I'm going, it's the off-season. I've got an opportunity here to acquire some more value. We said it before. What can I do with Dalvin Cook? Right now, he's not injured. He looks good. We know he's going to produce well. You can preach 2 to 3 year window. He fits all the bills as a perfect player to have.
Okay.
But right now, I'm coming to you. So I've got no hassle. We talked about last week. What are some of the things that you may have hesitations about? Well, one of them is trying to sell the player you're selling to someone else, right? Yeah. In this situation, the ideal person to have is Dalvin Cook because I don't need to do the selling. You're either into him or you're not.
Yeah.
All right. So I go to Tom and say, "Hey Tom, how is it, mate? What's going on over there in the Great White North?"
Oh man, we're good. I mean, we played some baseball. I face planted. Things are good, man. I hope things are well over there for you. What's up, man? What's on your mind?
I'm just looking to move a couple of pieces around at the moment. Just wondering if you got any interest in Dalvin.
Oh, that's weird, man. Did something come out? Like I don't understand. Like, it's a little sus, I'll be honest. But I'm always interested. It just depends on what his value is.
That's it. So his value is whatever you make it. I don't say that to you in real life. No one says that. That's not a real sentence. But this is what I'm thinking in my head. So the key to this is not, do you believe out there in our takes? Do you believe in our values of these players? It's what's the process from here? All right. So Tom's pitched to me that he's a little hesitant because it sounds like I'm trying to take the mickey out of him. One Australian saying, got one away to take the mickey out of someone.
Taking the mickey
out. Yeah. Okay. Taking the piss. Yeah.
So that one I know. I know taking the piss. I'd never heard it taking the mick. No, okay, I love that one. I'm using that one.
Got one away. Yeah. Taking the mickey's an easy one. So
I like that one.
Yeah, so the key here is why am I selling Dalvin Cook? So the key for me is, well, I'm saying, look, I love Dalvin, but right now I need more depth. So the reason I say that to Tom is because I want to pitch myself into kind of like I'm in the panicked position. I'm not. I know what I'm trying to do with the trade, but I want to try and pitch it as, hey, I need more help on my team, so I'm willing to give you the better asset, right? Because we always talk about trade breakdowns. You want the better asset coming out of it.
Yep.
But yeah, the key here is like I know I'm giving you something pretty good, but I put myself in a poor position. Therefore, you're doing me a favor by taking this deal on. So that's what I'd say back is, hey man, I really need some more depth. I love Dalvin. I hate to see him go, but I really need depth on my team. So I'm looking to try and get some structure where I get 2 pieces on my field and I send you across Dalvin and maybe a little bit of value on the back end, right? We said before, don't look for the 2-for-1s. Tell them you're willing to give a bit extra value because you understand the position you're putting them in, right?
Yep.
So that's how I'd pitch it to Tom, saying, here, Dalvin plus a little bit, but I want to try and get 2 players I can get on my field.
Okay. Oh, man, that's pretty good. It's a good opportunity. Who are you looking for here? Like, what's the setup?
So this happens a lot, right? So I pitched a player to someone and they go, well, which one of my great players are they trying to take from me? So I want to have a player in mind, and there's a reason for it. We talked about sliding back and up and down in tiers. I'm happy to drop a lot of tiers in running back, provided it gives me production, right? Because if I'm win now, running back lifespans we know are already shorter. So if it's only 1 to 2 years of running back production and a player has a little bit of his image isn't particularly at the top right now, I'm going to try and target that player to move back to replace some of Dalvin's production, allowing me more scope to really reach on a bigger player, right? That is how I like to approach it in this deal. So I'd say to Tom, hey, look, I'm happy to go down as far as a Joe Mixon, right? Great example of a value player. Okay. And in your mind, you're going, man, Dalvin Cook over Joe Mixon, that's a win, right?
Yep.
So I want to consider, I'm using language here to say I'm going as far down as, so in my rankings I've got them far lower. Right? It leads to open questions about how to work with value, but I'm starting low, but I know I'm replacing some production. So that's where I start. Hey, I'm happy to slide Dalvin all the way down to Joe Mixon and then look to add a wide receiver to it. What do you think?
I think, yeah, that's great. Oh, easy win. Just send over what you think. We'll work over the second player. I kind of like that.
Perfect. So now we're in the trade part, right?
I don't think I can do a 2-for-1. You'd probably have to send me something on top. What are you thinking?
Nice. So Tom's a savvy player, right? So I mentioned the something, and he's picking right up on that. Most people don't send that. They just say, send through what you're thinking, and you can leave the second part out because you can always add that later. Tom wants it up first. So I'm thinking in my head, okay, Dalvin Cook down to Joe Mixon. This is, if you ever wanted to use a trade calculator, you could use it here by yourself in the corner of your room if you don't have tiers and ranks. When we start just teaching how to build the tiers, don't tell anyone you did it, Turn off all the lights, make sure you've got your whatever they are on. What are they called?
The nightlight?
No. The express, like your VPN. Make sure you got your VPN
Oh, yeah,
on.
turn the VPN
Make sure no
on.
one's looking. Yeah. So you're in your little room going, okay, who are the players I can start to replace? I said before, wide receivers are a really easy piece. There's a lot of them that are relevant. Like we said, there's always, 58 wide receiver 3s. So I'm going to aim for a wide receiver 2 in return. Because I know on field that's going to give me good production. So I'm going to start with Joe Mixon and Kenny Golladay for Dalvin Cook straight. Right?
There we go. I don't really like that value. It's not all the way there for me. I think if you add a second, we can get the deal done.
Yeah. So this is when I then weigh up whether or not I actually want to add a second to it. Because in my mind, in my tiers right now, I'm already sliding back 3 tiers to get to Joe Mixon, and I'm only asking for a tier 4 player in Kenny Golladay in return. That to me says I'm already on edge about where I've evaluated these players. So I'll add a second, but I'll slide up and ask for an Amari Cooper or a Chris Godwin. All right. So all of a sudden I've gone for a bigger piece of yours, but I've added a second.
Oh, that's fair. I think I could do Godwin. Yeah, that offense is a little shaky. Send that over.
Yeah.
Bang. Now you've worked your way up, and I know people think like, oh, Chris Godwin. Remember, he was viewed as a wide receiver 1 last year in Dynasty. Didn't produce that way. He's going back to the same offense. Old. Exactly. Yeah. People are probably skewing their view on him. You can definitely move up to get him. And you obviously would rather have Golladay or Godwin over Golladay.
Golladay, right? Yeah.
And all it's costing you, you're already willing to do that, but you're still moving up a tier. So that's one way that we would negotiate that. We got another one. Hit me with that one. I'm excited for this one.
So this one's a little more controversial, right? And we said before, you don't like to sell off young assets for older players, right? Now there's a little proviso on that you got to be acquiring extra value and production, right?
Yeah. So
Justin Jefferson is the player I'm talking about, or J-Jets. I'm going to come to you saying, hey, look, man, I'm looking to move Justin on. I've got plenty of shares of him. That's the narrative I'm going to go with. I don't. I've got 1 share, and I'm not telling it to anyone. But right, if I was pushing it, I'd be saying, look, I've got plenty of shares. I just want to try and diversify my portfolio and get a few more pieces of production on my team. Right? Send it over saying, hey, man, I'm interested in talking Justin Jefferson. I've got plenty of him. I like to share the love, that sort of thing. What are you thinking? What's your interest level?
That's kind of crazy, man. I mean, I don't know what I would pay for him. You've probably got him ranked really high, and I just don't think I do right now.
Great response, right? So instantly, people are hesitant. Again, one of the top 10 perceived wide receivers out there. Why would this person be trying to offer me them unless they're trying to absolutely rape me and take the value? Well, I'm looking to sneak some value. So again, we talk about replacement of production, but we also need a player who's quite similar with their timeline. We need someone who's young enough who fits the bill. So you could look at a Chris Godwin, but if we're really trying to get value for J-Jets, we need two really good pieces again, right? So you've got to slide back to a player who has a lower perception on them, who has probably good opportunity to expand their role and their production on your team. So I'd look at sliding back as far as something like a Jerry Jeudy, right?
Yes.
Now, this gives me a lot of playroom because from Justin Jefferson to Jerry Jeudy, two JJs, in people's ranks, this all of a sudden is like, oh, hang on, if anyone wants Jerry Jeudy, I'm happy to talk, right?
Yeah.
So I send back, hey, man, I'm happy to switch wide receiver-wise down to Jerry Jeudy plus a piece. What are your thoughts?
Oh, big time. But that other piece, though, it's got to be pretty significant, I guess.
Yeah, and all of a sudden we find ourselves in the same situation we did before with Dalvin Cook, and we can start talking, well, what other piece do I want? Do I want another wide receiver? Do I want a pick? Do I want 2 picks? Because picks are a little easier to get your head around if you're getting a young asset. Maybe I start asking for 2 firsts. This person's win now. 2 firsts is not that far out of the equation on top of a Jerry Jeudy, and all of a sudden you have yourself great value. So I send back, hey, man, I'm happy to talk. I'm looking to rebuild right now, even if you're not, because we know everything's a liquid asset, but we want value.
Lie,
right? Yeah, I'm happy. Like, if you want to chuck on a couple of firsts, I'd be really interested in doing it, even if I have to put something on myself. Again, you throw in the little
yeah, bonus. 2 firsts is a lot, man. I would probably need something smaller back, but I mean, I like what we're doing here. What are you thinking there?
Yeah, so in this situation, I'm on the teetering edge, right? I love the value I'm getting for 2 firsts. I know they're going to ask for something pretty decent in return. I want to try and push them to ask for what they want. Because in this situation, if you really want to acquire as much value as possible, you want them committing to a player you don't give a shit about, right? And in this situation, if you've got a player on your bench like a Jarvis Landry, because if they win now, they want a piece they can use, that's who I'd be looking to get them to bite on, because I really don't. It's not that I don't care about Jarvis Landry, but he doesn't suit what I'm doing with my team, and he doesn't have any value to sell. So including him in this sort of package is a really, really good way to try and acquire more value. So I would say, hey, look, what sort of players are you interested in? I know I'm taking one of your good wide receivers away. What sort of thing are you interested in getting back?
I'd really just want someone I could kind of throw into my flex. I mean, I see you have Landry there. I mean, Marvin Jones is going to have a big year. Would you be willing to part with one of those guys?
And then in this situation, I know I am. You can push back harder if you want, but if I've sealed the deal and the value that I want, I'm happy to say, man, take your pick, because I want to cultivate a relationship ongoing. Right? We said it before. This is massive. You're not trying to take value away from someone and not give it back. You want to make sure you have someone you can talk with all the time. So I'm saying, look, have your pick of them. I'm happy to chuck one in. I really like where you got the value, and I like both sides of this deal. You're both happy. You're both talking. No one feels like they've lost advantage, but you've now got more pieces to play around with, and you've achieved the goal of what you went in to do.
And the important thing is you've put the other person in control. But you can pick, man, like I don't feel one way or the other. You're giving them the option, and it's weird to say that you're putting them in control, but people want to feel like they have control of the deal.
Especially when you're pitching them the idea, right? We said this before. You don't want to come in and say to them, here's an idea, now you do all the work. In this situation, whilst being submissive, you're still doing all the work here. You're still leading the narrative where you want it to go, but you've got to make sure they're on board. You want to try and lead them into that situation. Not trying to entrap them, but make sure they're on board with you before you start.
The minute you try to drill it, the minute you start drilling them for it, the minute they pull back a little bit. And when they start pulling back, you got to work twice as hard, and now it becomes obvious. And none of these, you're not raking people over the coals with these deals. You're not, taking advantage. You're not drilling it. It's a fairly reasonable deal. Most people would make it unless they're just stubborn as hell.
Yeah.
So what have we done in these situations? We've started the negotiation. We've led the conversation the whole time. We've set the examples, given them options, let them be in control, and at the end of the day, you knew what you were willing to settle with.
Yeah.
Now, these don't always go down like this.
No.
These are obviously somewhat perfect scenarios. I push back a little bit. He had to come aggressive a little bit. Obviously, these aren't always going to be this clean. Obviously, we want them to be, but these are the base narratives and situations that you want to try to use. Yeah. Obviously, right? Like some people are just nightmares to trade with. I know I can be difficult. I know Tom Lee is fucking difficult to trade with.
Sometimes,
but lie a little bit, gain where you want to go, and go in with the base, and don't be afraid to give up that little bit more, because who cares if you lose a trade? As long as you get the value that you want, that's your true perceived value.
That's the key to true value.
And that's something that matters. So that's that's how we apply everything that we've talked about over the last 4 weeks. Hopefully you can take this and stay active in this dead zone of what's considered the dead zone. Not dead zone for us, but some people have been referring it to the dead zone of dynasty football. Ways to reach out to people, get trades engaged in, and now you're acquiring that value still now. Not just in startups. Okay, it's more than that. There's more to obviously dynasty football than startups. I know they're the hot thing right now, but honestly. Okay, so let's walk through. I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we're going to talk through 2 big trades that both myself and Tom Lee are kind of dealing with right now. Tom Lee, I want you to go first. This is a little more simple. This is a little bit more of a breakdown, but
this is one that, and again, it's just using the example of what can you do with this time to be creative with value. This happened a couple of months ago in a league that we're both in, but I looked to move Justin Herbert, right? Now, I'm not trying to justify you. Yeah, I'm not trying to justify to you why I sold Justin Herbert, but my team is really thin on depth. So in this situation where I walked through with Tom before, I am actually in need of heaps of depth. So, what's my key asset? Who's young? Who's sexy? Who's got really good appeal to get some good value back? Well, it was Herbert, right? So I went out there, started shopping around, and like Tom was before, everyone was really hesitant to try and engage because it's like, oh no, what is this guy who won the league last year? Yes, humble brag. What's he after for Herbert?
Yeah.
Well, ended up talking with someone who's got a few good sort of low picks, so 106 and 107. Yeah. Right, and we know last year there were three really good quarterbacks early on, and then there's a bit of a wish-wash of what people's opinions are. I was like, well, look, I'm giving you the asset you need. He needed a quarterback. He's young. It fits his build. I'm happy to ask for 2 first because we don't know what they're going to be, but I needed positional help, not quarterback help.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, let's go into this. And again, we got in the same sort of conversation you and I just had. I said 106, 107, but I want some production on my field as well. I'll ask for Cup. Cooper Cup, older, doesn't fit his build. Not everyone's in on him. Stafford's signed, but it's neither here nor there. And it was a little too much value for him, us in the opposite direction. I also had some key pieces that he didn't mind the idea of, and bench pieces in Landry and Jeff Wilson. So we ended up just settling on that structure. So it was 106, 107, and Cooper Cup for Herbert, Landry, and Jeff Wilson, which for me suits all the value pieces I need. I could trade the picks. I can do whatever I want with them in the offseason. But it just means that I'm not sitting there on my roster going, how the hell am I going to go out and acquire a wide receiver too? How am I going to, what am I going to do with this? Well, use the asset you do have, even though you want to try and hold on to them, and make sure it serves your team's purpose, because I want to try and go back and beat Cobb again this year.
That would be FF_RTDB. There's a little rivalry in there from one of the leagues. I don't mind it, man. I mean, it's tough to trade away that asset, but you got exactly the value you felt comfortable with and achieved your goal in the end. It's okay to give up. Okay, you don't have to be worried about trading one of these guys if you get what you needed in the end. For myself, talking about trading someone away, this one is tough, and it hasn't been done yet. It's still sitting in my inbox. I wanted to wait for the show today to talk it out live. Look, if you're looking at startup value, okay, if someone comes at you looking for your first round pick and they offer you a 4th, a 7th, 2 2022 first, and a second for your first rounder and like a 15th rounder, you're probably running and clicking the button.
Yeah.
If not, I think you're a crazy person. That's sociopath behavior. So this is kind of what's happened, right? I got offered Kirk Cousins 7th, Travis Etienne 4th, 2 2022 first, and a 2022 second. In return, it's Mahomes, Peoples-Jones, and a 3rd.
Yeah.
Now, if you put almost any other name to me aside from Mahomes and Lamar Jackson and maybe Kyler Murray, I'm smashing that button without hesitation. But it is the name of Patrick Mahomes, who is literally impossible to value, that holds up that deal. But it's quarterback for quarterback, right? A decent enough quarterback as well.
Yeah.
Plus two firsts, Travis Etienne, who was a first in rookie drafts this year.
Yeah.
So really, if you look at it that way, it's 3 firsts, a starting quarterback, and a second for Patrick Mahomes. Because I don't care about the third and Peoples-Jones. I don't really care about them. They don't factor into my squad at all. And it's one of those deals that I want to just smash the button because it fits, it checks every box. Okay, veteran production on the field, no problem. Have Kellen Mond just in case. I have him already. Checks the button. Multiple first-round picks that I can trade away later for 2 times value, leaving me with 3 firsts in 2022 on a good roster.
Yeah.
Check. Oh, getting Travis Etienne, highly touted first-round running back, great athlete. Check. Second-round draft pick that I can trade later for veteran production. Check. All I got to do is trade away 1 freaking asset, and it's hard to hit the button. What I tried to do is I tried to send a counter that would end up getting me a 2023 first as well. I don't know if that's actually going to work. I tried.
Yeah.
He can keep his second, and I upped the third to a second to get that 23 first. So hopefully that's enough to do it. Then it's an easy smash, 3 first, Etienne and Cousins all day. But Mahomes is a tough one, but don't be afraid to explore trades for the megastars.
This is why we bring it up, right? Like the reason we bring it up is because we know there's attachment to these players. Like the reason I used Herbert, the reason I used Cook and Justin Jefferson, one, it helped with our scenario because it made it seem smooth. But these are players that people are really attached to because they either, if you had them last year, they generally won you championships, or they are the gold standard. They're what everyone wants on their team. So to see that player leave your roster, regardless of how productive Kirk Cousins could be, if you're a win now team, yes, it suits the value. Does it suit your team's narrative? That's kind of what you're wrestling with here. And there's no right or wrong answer. For me, it's a smash because I want the value, because I'm really active in the offseason and I keep turning that over and turning it over, right? I'd go and find someone who had Etienne as their running back 1 and flip them for, Dobbins or whatever, right? I'd work on that sort of mindset afterwards. But not having Mahomes on any of my teams because I play value more often than stud, I don't have that same hesitance to do it. Once you have one of these guys, you don't want to let go. Like if you have CMC, you have Mahomes, you have whoever the gold standard of your wide receivers are, you don't want to let them go because you've talked yourself in this narrative of I can have them for 10 years. At the start of the show, we said no window of opportunity exists without trying to acquire more value. So for me, you have to do the deal, but I can understand at the same time why
it's hard
why
when
hesitant.
You see the superstar, man.
Exactly.
It's hard when you see the superstar on the board, and you can preach it, but actually going out
when
and
you're in that
doing
moment,
it is the hardest part. I don't know if I'm gonna do it. We'll
have an update next week. That's for sure.
There will be an update. We're gonna post the poll too. We're gonna post it on the Bird app. See what people think. See what people that have been in the chat here think, and see what we can do. Because it's always tough to trade those megastars, but taking the names out of it and playing the stock market, you're trading that first round startup pick for that 4-7, 2 firsts and a second. You should be doing that every time. Every time. I don't know why I'm struggling right now. I think it's because I physically have them. I did the draft. I took them 101. Right. That's what I'm struggling with. I know Kirk Cousins is going to regress too. Like, I don't want to be that guy. He's not going to throw 36 touchdowns. It's just not. There's no way their defense is that bad again. Outthinking yourself is a serious problem. Final thoughts here, Tom Lee. Hit us with one. We're running a bit long.
That's right.
Hit us with our final thoughts, and we're going to get out of here.
So final thoughts. 1, stay interactive with us. I want to hear about what you guys are doing with your tiers and your values out there as well. Like you said before, make sure you hit us up and apply, get your name in the hat to be pulled out, and we'll go through the tiers and ranks with you next week and building them up. But the key for me, I promised a second Australianism or a second Australian word. And I've got a choice of 2, Tom, so we can go with whichever you feel, right? I've got one that's just, it's not really as popular over here, but I think you'll enjoy it more. And there's one that can just be generally used in the fantasy industry really popularly. What do you think?
Okay, let's go with, because what was the first one? Taking the Mick.
Taking the Mickey was the first one.
Mickey. Taking
the Mickey, and then regress to taking the Mick. Yeah.
Right, because taking the Mick is more Irish.
Yeah. Where does it come out of? Don't really know.
Yeah. So, yeah. The only reason I know taking the Mick is because Pete and Bass, UK drill rappers that are like 75, they used it in a song once, and that's why I know what that is.
Good comparison for me being 29.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, if you don't listen to Pete and Bass, please do. They're fucking phenomenal.
Give them a look.
Let's go with the one that I'm going to enjoy more, because that's all about me on this show, because I'm the boss. All
right. So if you're out on a night out and you've had a few too many to drink, and you can't quite pull up Uber, or you can't pull up your favorite drive share app, then you're taking a walk home. And for us, we were saying you're taking the foot Falcon. All right. So if you've ever got to walk anywhere, instead of saying I'm going for a walk, you can supplement it with the foot Falcon. And it's got to be one of my favorites. It's just, no one knows what it means, but you kind of get it from context, and it's funny, lighthearted. It's got alliteration. It's got everything.
I'm just going to foot Falcon home.
That's it. Just take the foot Falcon and get out of here.
Oh, my God.
Anything. So
we've had a few too many wobblies there, Tommy boy. Time to take the foot Falcon.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Oh, taking the Mickey all the way with the foot Falcon. Oh, I love it. We're going to put a poll up now because we got 5, and we're going to poll everyone's
favorite.
What's the best?
From,
what is it? We're not here to fuck.
Shits me to tears.
Yeah. Shits me to tears. Not here to fuck spiders. I forget the other one. Breaks the shits.
Crack the shits.
Crack the shits. Foot Falcon. And Taking the Mickey. Fucking phenomenal. I'm finding myself using them at every opportunity.
And I hope you all are at home as well. This is a key opportunity to try and get what we've done to the English language out there. It's horrific, but
we're not going to let it die on this show. It will live. Butchering the English language will live on this show for as long as we are breathing and talking into microphones. My final thoughts here is stay positive, stay active, be kind to your league mates. Don't be a dick. Try not to be a douche. And as we always do, I just want to tell you that you can let us know if we missed anything. If we missed anything, you can let us know. If you agreed with everything we said, you can also let us know that. Also, I did mention before that there is a contest to get onto the show to build your tiers. You can go and do that. You can do that on the Bird app. You can do that in our DMs. Be sure to do that. Leave comments on the YouTube. Go to dynastyvipers.com or Dynasty Vipers YouTube page. Definitely leave a comment, like, subscribe. Do all of those things. Be tuning in on Fridays where you look Full Tilt Dynasty Podcast with myself, Big Billy FF, and FF_RTDB, where we break down things a little bit more traditionally than we do here. And again, thank you. That's the biggest part. Is a big thank you to everyone listening, pay attention, downloading. We're keeping it consistent, but we're moving forward all the time. A shout out to everybody over there at the Dynasty Vipers. They're great people. You can go check out their articles. You can go check out Terra Time, breaking down 30 players in 30 days. Go learn something. Please keep it going. And remember, there's no such thing as a dead period. There's no such thing as a slow period, so long as you're the one dictating the time and the effort. There's a lot of things happening, and I just, again, wanted to mention Brighter Skies FF. Please head over there on the Bird app. Go click the link for donations. They're trying to reach their goal. We have done it. We encourage you to do it. Go and watch. It was fantastic. That being said, that's going to do it for us. Thanks for joining us. Be looking for us next Tuesday as well. Could be Monday. I'll let you know. Our schedule's getting weird with baseball and stuff now. But thank you to everyone coming out. Remember that clear eyes, full hearts can never lose. Take care, everyone, and go get that value.